Are you ready? Stand by. She's got a knack for it. I see it with this. You're finished.
So I'm 6 matches in so far, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I figured all this out because I definitely haven't. But I've learned enough to tell you what I wish somebody told me before I showed up my first one. And more importantly, I want to address something that keeps a lot of people on the sidelines who probably shouldn't be. But first, let's get into what USPSA actually is. USPSA is a practical shooting sport where you move through multiple stages throughout the day, and your score is a combination of your time and your accuracy. Divisions are based on what gun you're bringing and how it's set up. If you're coming from a tactical background, then you're most likely going to end up in carry optics, which is also what I'm shooting. If you're shooting iron sights, you'll probably be in production, and then there's also open categories, which is mainly race guns and fancy expensive stuff. So before we get into the gear, I wanted to talk about my company's shooter's preference. I make everything myself, so if you're looking to support the channel, go check out the link in the description. One product you guys might be interested in is called the Fog Pocket. It's a pouch with a microfiber cloth inside of it, just for cleaning optics and lenses and eye pro, things like that. It's got a Velcro back so you can attach it to anywhere you have Velcro placed. I like putting this on my ear pro. And let's get back to the video. So a lot of your existing setup will carry over. The gun, ammo, the belt, the fundamentals you've been training, all of that will apply in a match. The pistol is a Glock 19. This one has a slide from Strike Industries. That was just put on there so I can have a red dot mounted. I use a Holosun 407C. Everything else is pretty much stock except for a couple exceptions. I have a Kagwerks slide release. I just like that because I like to get a really high grip and make a lot of contact with the frame, so that allows that without accidentally locking your slide. I have suppressor height sights, but they're blacked out. I don't like having any other colors on my sights, just so it doesn't interfere with my focus on the dot. I have a couple +4 mag extensions. These I bought from AliExpress years ago, back before they took them off their website. I keep a Harbor Freight weapon light on. This is mainly just so it fits better in the holster, but also I think it does add something to recoil mitigation, but it makes the pistol heavier, so it's a trade-off. One thing I've started doing before every match is oiling the gun. I've had a couple stovepipes. It could be because of the new slide, it could be a couple of things, but before each match I like to get the gun pretty wet. So the belt I use is the same one I use for all of my shooting. This is an AWS Gear 2-piece belt. It's a solid platform. I've used it for years. I have no reason to replace it. The holster is a Safariland 6354 RDS. So it fits Glock 19s with an optic and a light, and it meets all the safety requirements for USPSA. So mag pouches are S-Tac Kiwis, angled at a 45 degree. I've liked this. Some people like different things, but most people in the competition circuit are running some sort of angled mag pouch, so that's what I'm going with. So beyond your gear, you're going to want to bring a couple things. Water, for sure, if it's a summer match, maybe electrolytes, some snacks, caffeine if that's part of your routine, and a way to film all of your stages. I like to bring a tripod with a mount for my phone, and also a GoPro mounted to my chest. Some people have the hat cameras. There's a lot of options out there. You're also going to want some way to carry all of it. I usually just bring a backpack. I've seen other people with wheeled carts, things like that. On gear in general, I wouldn't buy competition-specific stuff especially before your first match. Just run what you have as long as it meets the USPSA standards, and figure out what actually matters to you before you go diving all the way in the competition gear rabbit hole. So safety is something that's taken very seriously. Any breaking of the 4 rules results in an immediate disqualification. There's also a bunch of others in the rulebook that I would read before you get into your first match. They're really simple once you get a hold of them and internalize them. You'll be wearing eye pro the whole time, ear pro most of the time. It's a very safety first culture, and that's a good thing, honestly. So let's talk about the argument that keeps a lot of tactical-minded shooters away from competition. The claim is that competition shooting builds bad habits. Habits that could get you killed in a defensive encounter. And I want to take this seriously because it's not coming out of nowhere. There are real people that have thought about this, and some of them know what they're talking about. The strongest version of the case against this is that in a competition, you're rewarded for speed above most other things. You know exactly where the targets are going to be before you start shooting. You can see through the walls. There's no decision making on whether or not you should shoot a target. And you're moving in ways that are optimized for a defined area. But here's where this falls apart. There's no version of shooting faster and more accurate that would make you less dangerous with a firearm in a defensive situation. The particular skills that you're training in a competition all translate over. Not that I've ever been in a defensive situation where I have to use a firearm, but the truth is repetition and execution under certain pressures will always make you a better shooter. Draw speed, consistency, reload, shooting on the move, and just accuracy in general. These are all overlaps in the skills that it takes to use a firearm effectively. The fact of the matter is, if you're running around with a gun, whether you're a civilian, LARPer, or somebody with an actual job to do this, USPSA and other competitions like it will make you better with those tools. The things that surprised me the most, I think, were the timer affecting you a lot more than you would think. You can spend 5 minutes coming up with a stage plan, doing practice runs, and then right when that timer goes off, all of it exits your brain. Once you've gotten past that, you can start to learn the skill of stage planning, and this is where I think you can have a lot of fun. There is a kind of match etiquette that nobody can really teach you. It's something you're just going to have to pick up the more matches you do, and the more you watch how everything flows. And you'll notice there are ways to game it. But this is the thing. You're doing a sport with its own logic. So enjoy it, but also use it to build skills. So using competition as a diagnostic tool. This is the argument that I find most compelling for somebody who's on the fence about whether or not they should get into competition shooting. A match is a standardized test that you can't cheat. This data is honest in a way that regular practice on the range can never be. Almost immediately after shooting a stage, things will come to the surface, like transition speed, reloads, draw consistency. All of this will become very obvious once you start shooting with pressure. Dry fire and shooting on the flat range work without a feedback loop. It kind of just reinforces what you're already doing. So a match tells you specifically what you need to be working on. So I'm 6 matches in. I haven't even had my membership long enough to be classified, but I already feel like I'm learning a ton. The matches that I've been to so far feel like they've been more useful than the equivalent amount of solo range time would have been. So that's my honest assessment after 6 matches. Should you do it? I think if you carry a firearm, then yes, definitely. Whether that's as a civilian or it's your work, I think it's a necessary part of being in the firearms culture. And for an entry fee and a couple hundred rounds, I think the skill building is unmatched. And honestly, I think the people most resistant to it are the ones that would benefit the most from it. So I'm going to keep shooting these matches. I'll be posting footage of it from time to time. If there's anything I glossed over or anything you guys want to know more about, go ahead and let me know in the comments. And thank you guys for watching this video. We will see you in the next one.